Hi guys, thanks so much for stopping by, and this is going to be my first ever indoor or house planned video or vlog. So today I'm going to be talking about the ZZ plant, or it has a lot of names. It is also called, it's called ZZ because it really is called Zamioculcas Zamiifolia, and that is a botanical slash a scientific name. So this is, I only have one now, so I will give you a little bit of history. I discovered this plant, let's see, probably about close to 10 years ago. And I was looking for office plants because I was in charge of our entire office, and so I wanted to spruce it up and liven it up a little bit because, to be quite honest, the atmosphere was a little bit grim, and I just kind of wanted to lighten up the place. So I was researching a lot online, and I discovered that this was a good choice for low light. So I got like a cute little teeny tiny one for it, just to kind of try and see at my workplace, which my desk has 0 windows. It's just the design of our office, I suppose. There wasn't really a lot of windows except for my boss, which his office was the only like corner office. So he had a lot of massive windows, but he wasn't really into that. So I didn't really put any plants there. I kind of did want to put something in there, but I just didn't. And I just did the rest of the office. The rest of the office had a few spots for it. So I really was focused on having more low light plants. And so I got this, and it was very tough and very resilient, that I thought to get one for my apartment at the time. Now, at the time, I was living, or my husband and I were living at a high-rise apartment in Chicago. And anybody who is a plant lover out there, hopefully you understand, I bought about 10 to 20. And when I specifically remember too, because I ordered such a big amount, it was delivered, and it wasn't this size. It was definitely a bigger size. And I remember my husband was like, what's happening? You know, he loves plants. He was actually the one that introduced me into plants in general, just because my parents do not have a green thumb. So I mean, I grew up with plants with other family, but it just wasn't really like something I really thought more about until I met him. I did kind of experiment before I met him, and I wasn't really that serious, I guess. I'm just trying to explain that. So I got like a bunch of them, and our apartment was like one side was just floor to window, and just imagine because it did our bedroom, and then it did the rest of the apartment. It was just windows. So I decided to just cover all the windows with plants, and buying close to 20 of these, and they were really tall. Probably about double the height of this one, that should cover that. Now, when you look at researching, and it says it does great with low light, and don't really give it bright light because it's going to torch. I haven't really had that experience before, and I was in a high rise. It was, let's see, I think it was south facing window, so it had like a lot of light all the time. The reason I only have this one now, and the other ones have passed on, was because when we moved from that apartment to a different apartment to kind of try a different area, we saw huge windows in that area, but we were so excited that what we found, I don't think we thought there was going to be a problem. And I honestly, like, I didn't think that it would, that we wouldn't be getting that much light. So it really was abrupt. Like, we moved one day and then we went to that apartment and they were not getting as much light as they were getting for about 2 years. And they slowly died. It was really painful for me to go through. So I was just giving you a little bit of history. I have loads and loads and years of history with this particular plant. And I recently, well, not recently, well, this has been with me for a little bit of time. And this is directly next to a window. It has new growth 1 and 2 right here. When I bought this, this one right here, this was closed, and it was a new growth when I got it. And now it has 2 pairs of leaves, or 2 sets that have grown. So it has definitely grown. It does, whenever you go online, because that's what I did before, and I'm just sharing you my personal experience. It might not be for everybody, but from my personal experience, if you put this, the more light you put this next to, the faster it can grow. And obviously the more light you provide a plant, and you water it more as well, due to the fact that the light is going to be processing the moisture or the water you give it. You know, that's just how plants work. The more light, the more you water, and the more both of those combine, the more they're digesting it and the more they have nutrients to grow. So that's basically it. I remember when I got these, and I remember when I asked my husband, like, do you mind if I, I think I said I was going to get some ZZ plants. I think they're really wonderful and all that. And I think he just said, no, I don't really mind. I love plants, you know that. And then when they arrived, it was like 20 plants. And he was completely shocked. He said, I thought you were going to get some. And I said, yeah, but I remember that time last week when I was measuring the window, and it could fit about 20 plants. And he said, oh, well, I didn't really, I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was more of like he was stunned. Where was I? Oh yeah. So these are completely very green. What I use in this, just in case you guys wonder how I take care of this. So this is in a south facing window. I use cactus soil or cactus dirt in this, and I always have been using that due to the fact that they do best when it's a fast draining soil. I did use it once, and that was in my office for a regular potting dirt, and it really suffocated it and it died. So ever since, I've only just used cactus dirt or cactus soil for this, and it never really had a problem. Now, the only problem why all those 20 plants died was because change of location. It was pretty abrupt. It wasn't like, every day or every few days I was able to move it a foot away from a window and things like that. So because we never really had the chance to do that, because it was a very abrupt move, that was why. So I believe that if it wasn't very rushed and we actually had the ample time, I would have been able to prepare the plants a lot more, but we, you know, at the time, we just didn't. We, unfortunately, like, if I know now, you know, if I know then what I don't know, I probably would have prepared it even before we were thinking of, like, moving. It was just an abrupt move. So, this used to be a little bit shorter. I do have a, like, I do have a plant diary now, or journals, multiple ones. And, I have thought that maybe at the end of the year, or I don't know, when I actually have more to show you guys what I've done in there, then I could actually do a flip through. So I will do that when I feel like there's enough. For now, I just wanted to show this with you guys. I just did a simple cleaning with this with just water. I would suggest you do that. I did purchase this in store, and this was a little bit smaller. I believe I bought this at Lowe's or Home. Yeah, I think at Lowe's. Because Lowe's, I don't know, in my area, they seem to have really great, very healthy plants in my area for whatever reason. Not all the time, by the way. Not all the time, but for the most part, I think from my experience and what I feed this, or how often do I water this. So I water this whenever the dirt up to between here to here. When I put it in the dirt, like so, and all of this is just moving, and when I take my hand or my fingers off, this should not be sticking. If that is still sticking, the dirt is still moist, I will not water it. That is really the trick to it. I remember through the years, my husband would be very worried because, like I said, we had about 20 plants, 20 of these, and he would look at them and the top layer looked really parched and dry, and he would always like freak out. This was the time when they were thriving, and he would always go, "Oh my gosh, you need to water your plants, you know, do you want me to do it? You know, all these things." And I said, no, they're fine. And what I noticed is that if you just keep the dirt dry, like probably an inch to 2 inches, like as long as you swirl your fingers through the entire pot and 2 inches doesn't stick to you, like it's literally like sand on the beach, or just sand in general that's not wet, not touching water at all. If it comes off like that, like when I did that here, and there's some dirt like that, that to me is probably like, maybe soon this needs to be watered soon for this particular plant. Would probably be, it could be like 5 days to a week. It could be more than a week. So what I would suggest is just check this plant once a week. Just swirl your fingers through there. A lot of people have suggested just like a short top layer in there, like an inch, which, yeah, like an inch. I usually do a little bit over an inch, just because I do feel that through experience, trial and error, that what I noticed is they grow better. I also do feed this fertilizer, and I have been criticized before by different people who have been gardening a lot more than I have, who have a lot of knowledge and things like that. However, I take in consideration everybody's experience and everybody's knowledge. I'm not, disrespecting what you've gone through, or if you just kind of like did your research. But for me, I did trial and error, and this is just based on my particular experience and my knowledge to that. So every time I water, I give it fertilizer. Some people do not recommend that. Some people do it like every other time, every other watering, or a few times in a year. I don't. I give fertilizer every single time. And another crazy thing that I do, which I have been told, and even my husband was told that because he asked people about it. So what I do is, even though these have no flowers, I actually give this the regular plants bloom booster or for flowers. What I noticed with that is that it actually does make it bigger. It just looks so beautiful, and it looks incredibly healthy. Like, it just has that extra oomph of vitamins in there. So that's what I have been doing through the years with this particular plant. I do not use cactus fertilizer. I use a regular all-purpose, and then a regular all-purpose bloom booster. I do the regular dose for the house plant measurement. And so far I have only used Miracle-Gro. I am actually going to stop that. I do have so many boxes of Miracle-Gro, and I just had an incredibly disgusting experience with them, so I don't really plan on purchasing any other products ever again in my entire life. So when I do go through with all of that, I am researching for a really great all-purpose houseplant fertilizer and a bloom booster, hopefully in the same brand or same company. If you guys can give me suggestions down below, that would be wonderful. I anticipate it won't be anytime soon because I have about 10 of the big boxes of the Miracle-Gro fertilizers, so that won't be anytime soon. But this is a really hardy plant because one of the times I watered this in the summer, it's already fall now, and this actually does lighten up to me emotionally and mentally. So anyway, I accidentally watered this with the outside measurement for the regular and the bloom booster, because I always mix those, well, not always, but I usually mix those in one container. And I didn't even realize it until I think I went through the entire container. And then that's when I'm like, oh my gosh, I watered it with this one. Whoops. And then I just really paid close attention to it. Because of my memory loss and my amnesia and everything, my memory really does have like black spots on there. So I didn't remember how much fertilizer I used for this plant when I had it, when I had like a forest worth. And this never looked sick. This never looked like it was dying due to the amount of fertilizer that I gave it, which was supposed to be for outdoors. Now, the measurement for the Miracle-Gro is like half a teaspoon per gallon. The outside is, I believe, either 1 tablespoon or 1.5 tablespoon, I believe, per gallon. One of those two. Half a teaspoon, just so you know, if you don't know, 3 teaspoons is equivalent to 1 tablespoon. So the amount wasn't just twofold, it was sixfold to be exact. So I was really scared, and I just kind of watched it and observed it, and I think I even watered with that formulation like a few times. And then when I realized, I'm like, whoops. So it's still doing really great, and I have switched it already to the just normal or regular the indoor houseplant fertilizing. And again, I water it whenever it needs to be watered. There is no actual schedule. And every time I do water, there is fertilizer in there. So it's not just regular drinking water. And I do not use tap water because we have well water. And our tap water is basically, you're not supposed to be drinking it due to the filter content in there and the amount of salt we have. We have our own separate, we have reverse osmosis, which is the cleanest water you could get. And that is what I use to mix the fertilizer in there. I try to document as much as possible on the progress of this particular plant, but it is still slow growing. I believe the way it's growing is kind of fast for this plant because this plant is categorized as slow growing. I do believe, due to the fact that I do not keep this in a non-bright room, I do not keep this away from a window. I I fertilize it every time. I give it fertilizer every time I water it. I believe that kind of combination really does make it grow faster. So if you love this plant or you are thinking of getting it, that has been my quote unquote secrets, because I've had family and friends come up to me like how I take care of it. A lot of people like don't believe me due to the fact that what they see online and what they see on the internet is not really what you're supposed to do, supposedly what the guide rules are. And my husband even was a skeptic about it. Like, he even has come up to me and through the years and be like, maybe you should, do this. I read online, this. And I always tell him, just relax. The plant is healthy. It's not dying. It's perfectly healthy and growing and just beautiful. And I think after he saw in about an amount of like maybe less than 2 months, like weeks, there was always some new growth in the plants. That's when he just kind of backed off, and that's when he said, wow, everything that I have read and that you have read pretty much said, and people have actually told me and him, do not add the bloom booster for this plant because it will kill it. So I'm not saying you have to do it. I'm just saying this is what I have been doing, and it works for me. And I have used that in different locations, different locations, different environments, different window facing, and that worked for me. So that's all I could recommend. I do not have a set schedule on how often I do repot it. And I know I am like other people too. Like, sometimes it does kind of annoy me when there's a new plant that I want to try and grow, and I don't know, do I need a schedule and things like that. For me, whenever this has gotten really too bushy and too full in regards to, like, let's just say there are shoots and they are about an inch away from the outside of this planter. That's when I would usually prefer to transplant it. I always don't like to transplant my plants. That's just my personal preference. I feel like they get acclimated in there and they love their home. Why move them? But my husband always encouraged me to repot due to the fact that, it needs new dirt and all that stuff. But then you also have to think the reason that people always have that kind of mindset to change the dirt so often is because a lot of times people don't really fertilize plants. And when you don't fertilize plants, the plant really sucks in all the nutrients from the potting dirt. So you got to keep that in mind. When you are raising houseplants and indoor plants, due to the fact that you don't get the elements outside, which naturally does occur, that's why you don't repot your dirt outside. You repot the ones inside because it's a different formulation of dirt. That's why you repot that. But to me, though, I fertilize my plants every time I water them. That's why I've never had the need to repot them. I've never had the need to repot them frequently. Let's rephrase that. So my rule of thumb is, you don't have to follow it, but my rule of thumb is, as long as the plant does want and does need a bigger space to grow, that's when I repot it. Not before, but that. And it's only for spacing. It's not for nutrients, because again, I really don't skimp on my fertilizers. I always use them every time I water, and I am a very prepared person. And so I reuse, I upcycle some containers, and I mix it already there. So my husband has his own plants that he takes care of, and he just uses that. So we just use that together. And that can last for a day or two, depending on how many plants we need to water that specific day. or it can last about a week or so, depending on, again, how much we're gonna water. So that is my personal experience, and it has been successful with this plant. So that's all I'm gonna talk about, is just this particular plant's experience. I don't know if you could see it, but it's just so beautiful and shiny and super healthy. And I believe that it is because of the bloom booster that I do add, that I feel that the leaves do grow bigger, the stalks grow thicker. I do believe adding that really does encourage it to just be stockier in general. So this is my quote-unquote secret in what I do. If you are interested and want to get this plant, again, what I use is just household fertilizer. You can use another brand if you don't want to use Miracle-Gro. I don't recommend them anymore due to the fact that I bought a faulty product from them, a lot of faulty products, and they just gave me like they gave me two 10% coupons to exterminate the pests that they provided me, and they're always very sorry, but they never really had a solution. Basically, they told me to just take my problem somewhere else and go buy more products and get rid of it this way, buy more products, and I wasn't going to do that. So so just so you know, if you do buy Miracle-Gro products, just so you know, it's a gamble. I have been loyal to their company for over 10 years and going on 11 actually. Well, not anymore. 10 years, and as soon as I hit a problem with their products, they just pretty much threw me like yesterday's garbage. So not really going to recommend a company that doesn't really take care of their customers. Even if you're a first-time customer, I believe they should take care of you. I believe that they should have just, I just wanted to get rid of the pests that they gave me. So they didn't need to give me money. I just wanted them to give me the supposed product that I wouldn't have needed if I didn't have their product. That was all I wanted. A fix, essentially. But they didn't want to do that. So anyway, there are other companies. I will try to put it in the description box on what I do plan. I almost forgot, actually. I have started to also add Super Thrive in this plant, but I think it was just the last watering, so you're not going to see it like right away. It was just very recently. Or I don't see it right away yet. So we shall see. I will try and update this plant, maybe, I don't know, maybe when I do feel that it has grown substantially, maybe a couple times a year or once a year for you guys, just an update. But if you guys have any questions, comments, if there's something that I really didn't cover in this particular plant's care, what I have used, how I do care of it, the light that I give it, let me know. Just to be clear, kind of sum it up, the light, right now this is in the south facing, and I do have a shelf. I have posted it on my Instagram, and all my social media accounts are right down below if you guys want to check that out. It is in the bottom shelf, and it is on the left corner where it gets probably the most minimal light out of the entire window. It does still get hours and hours of light. However, because of just how our land and our house is built, that particular spot where this plant is, I would say probably gets what is categorized as medium light. Not low light, not high light, probably medium to high. Probably medium to high, due to that it is south facing, and this is directly next to a window. Also, I have noticed, due to my my kind of, I don't know if it's illness or disability for now, taking care of my plants, and this plant really has helped me become better It has helped me with, I have anxiety now. It has helped me with my anxiety, with sadness, close to depression. It has helped me with a lot of mental issues now due to several accidents I had this year alone. And I never particularly healed from a few years ago. So this really has helped. So it's very therapeutic, just so you know, and it does clean the air, and I forgot to mention that part. So I found this on Wikipedia. It says, the plant has air purifying qualities for the indoor environment. A study from Department of Plant and Environmental Science at the University of Copenhagen from 2014 shows the plant is able to remove volatile organic compounds in this order of effectiveness: benzene, toluene, toluene, I don't know how to say it, I'm sorry, ethylbenzene, and xylene at a molar flux of around 0.01 mol a day. So there you have it. Not only is it very therapeutic, not only does it really help in that kind of situation, but it also cleans the air. I believe you can get seeds through here. I have never done that, so I can't share with you guys how effective that would be. If I do decide to do that, which I don't know if I will, as honestly, I will share my experience as well. If you guys want to talk about plants, or this plant alone, I love to hear from you guys no matter what. I am an avid gardener, outdoors and indoors. I love plants. I love having plants, and I love taking care of them. I actually want more still. I want to feel like every window of my house just covered in plants. No curtains, no blinds, no nothing, but just plants. If you want to chit chat about ZZs, questions, again, if I forgot to mention something, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. I love answering all your questions, and I always try to be as knowledgeable as I possibly can when you do have a follow-up question that I didn't cover, and I do apologize for that. If you have other suggestions that there might be other plants that I would enjoy, because I love this plant so much, let me know down below as well. I hope you enjoyed my video. I hope you're going to give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't yet, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell so you're notified every single time I do upload another video. Thanks guys, and I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.